The prank that turned real. One day, Jack decided to play a prank on his friend Harry. He bought a terrifying ghost mask and planned to hide in Sharif's room at night. When the clock struck midnight, Kareem was ready. As soon as Sharif entered the room, Jack jumped out with the mask and screamed at the top of his lungs. Harry froze for a moment, then started laughing in an eerie way. Jack took off the mask and asked, "Were you scared?" Sharif looked at him with wide eyes and said, "I'm Harry, but who was in my room when I came in?" At that moment, they heard footsteps coming from the next room. Jack and Harry stood frozen in fear, hearing the footsteps approach from the next room. Harry asked Jack, "Did you bring someone with you?" Jack shook his head rapidly, saying, "Of course not." The footsteps came closer until a shadow stood in front of the door. Jack looked at Harry and said, "The prank's on us now." The door slowly creaked open, revealing a figure wearing the same mask Jack had on, but it wasn't either of them. The stranger approached slowly and said in a calm voice, "The prank isn't over yet." Jack and Harry were in shock, but Jack tried to stay calm and asked the stranger, "Who are you?" The figure looked at them with dark eyes and said in a chilling tone, "I'm here to make the prank become real." Jack and Harry felt real fear, but suddenly the figure removed the mask, revealing it was Jacob, their friend who loved to play pranks. Jacob laughed loudly and said, "I knew I'd scare you." Harry breathed a sigh of relief, but Jack told Jacob, "If you'd been a minute later, I'd have run and left you behind." However, when they left the room, they found strange footprints on the floor. Jacob's last words were, "The prank isn't always just acting." After leaving the room and seeing the strange footprints, Jack and Harry were tense and confused about what was happening. Jacob tried to joke with them, saying it was part of the prank, but his face showed genuine unease. Suddenly, the doors in the house began to close on their own, and all the lights went out. Jack looked at Harry and said, "Jacob isn't joking, is he?" Jacob nodded and said, "The prank is over, but what's happening now is real." At that moment, they heard fast footsteps coming from the end of the hallway, and they decided to run together. But the door they were running towards was locked, and the sound grew closer and closer. Jack whispered, "We have to face whatever's coming, there's no escape." Jack and Harry stood in front of the locked door, and the shadows that were approaching them suddenly disappeared. Jacob, trying to reassure them, said, "That was part of the prank, but what happened afterward was beyond my control." Jack and Harry were in shock, and when they opened the door, everything in the house had returned to normal. Jacob said, "I wanted to do a simple prank, but I didn't know it would turn out like this. Forgive me." After some laughter and awkwardness, they went back to having dinner together, but in their memories, this prank would remain the most bizarre and frightening in the history of their friendship.